Yep. 3. Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun. Bima ghafara li rabbi. This is from Surah what? Do you know? No. No. Sura Yasin.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking the third one.
Okay. It is the third one. Ya layta qawmi. What does that mean?
How I wish.
Ya layta qawmi. If the ya means if only my people ya'lamun. Now, but it's in the present, isn't it? Notice how you naturally went to knew, you put it in the past. Literally it means if only my people know, okay, which we don't say in English like that. Know what? That my Lord's forgiveness. Now, this is a new rule. It's quite technical. This can have two meanings. It can mean alladhi. So if only my people knew of the thing that my Lord forgave me for. That's one, and that's how you translate it, I think, isn't it? So the idea, and then you think, what's the situation here? Do you know the story?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's the guy who died, and he was rejected by the people.
Yeah.
Then he said.
But what was the scenario? Allah sent a messenger to all people. What did they do with it? And the people rejected him. So Allah sent 2 more people. So he sent them 3. There's a whole difference. We don't have any clarity about were they disciples of Jesus? That's one opinion. Were they messengers, prophets? Or were they just messengers? They were just coming to give them the message, not necessarily prophets. Remember, the Qur'an's not interested in details. It's interested in the moral behind the story. So all these things are irrelevant to it, really. Some say they were sent to Antakya, which is Antioch in Turkey today. Allah knows best. But anyway, these people came, they were rejected, and what did they want to do to these messengers? Kill them. So then all of a sudden, what happened? A man came from the furthest part of the city, saying to them, people, don't kill them. How could you do this? And they said, oi, shut up. And then what did they do? They killed him, their own people, one of their own. And there are narrations, Allah knows best, they stamped him to death, basically, until his innards came out, they say. Now, as soon as he died, he says, get what was said, قِيلَ دَخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. It was said, enter the paradise, straight away. So that person was stamped, he stood up in front of his people, and very bravely, immediately when they killed him, his soul went straight to Jannah. And then what's the first thing he said? If only my people knew of what my Lord forgave me. Now you're thinking, these guys are stamped on you to death. And you're up in paradise all of a sudden. Why not are you going to think about that? You say, oh Lord, send them to hell, wouldn't you? You think that if someone's murdered you and your soul was there, they talk about this in mythology, isn't it? Or fairy tales about the soul wanders and it will never rest until justice has been done. Yeah, do you know that idea about the ghost basically haunting the person who was the killer? That happened. We have it in the films years ago in the 80s. Do you remember that film Ghost? Patrick Swayze and I don't know. Do you remember years ago? Is it the 80s? That was about that story, wasn't it? If I can remember rightly, is that the whole story about that was he was killed by his best friend, I think. Was it?
Yeah, it was after something.
And so his ghost, what did it do? It went to his wife, didn't it? His wife, and basically told.
Killer to justice.
Yeah, for justice. And that's an ancient idea. The Arabs had that idea as well, about basically the soul's going to wander the earth and it needs to be avenged and it won't rest. So that's why they went after, if someone killed their family member, they were ready to kill them straight away so that the soul of the person could rest. Does that make sense? Now you're thinking, so this idea is that if someone's been killed unjustly, they're not going to have compassion for their killer. But this person was killed, immediately, he's thinking about his people. Yeah, if only my people knew of the forgiveness my Lord has given me. Now, there's this concept that I've, in therapy, is that when a victim of a situation has been able to process their trauma, i.e. recover from it, they end up having a higher form of consciousness, and they can see even where their perpetrator, why they did what they did. It doesn't justify it, but they can understand at least, and they can end up making sense of why this happened in their life. Does that make sense? Yeah. But before they've processed it, if they haven't tried to sort of get closure on that, they're troubled by it for the rest of their lives. Yeah, they're trying to make sense. Why did that happen? Why did that happen? And it really troubles them. So notice here, he transcended his experience. He was killed and he went to paradise. So you're seeing things from a higher level. Does that make sense? So he was able to even empathize with the people that killed him. And the idea was that immediately he was stamped on awful. If you see someone go through an awful death, you think, oh, that was awful. But the idea in Islam is as soon as they die, they don't feel a thing. Yeah, you know the story of the people in the pit where they're being thrown into the fire. As soon as their bodies touch the fire, basically they don't even feel the pain. Okay, so there's a really beautiful image there. So we could translate it two different ways. If only my people knew of what my Lord forgave me, that specific thing. So the idea here, this is a beautiful idea, is that if Allah forgives you for one thing, you're in it. Basically. If you can get Allah's forgiveness, then you're sorted. So what happens on the Day of Judgment? If Allah accepts you, He looks at all your actions and He chooses the best one and makes all your other acts that equivalent. Okay.
So it could be even a small act.
Yeah. No. Well, what's a small act? You remember the story of the prostitute that gave water to the dog? That Allah forgave her for that act. She's sorted. Once she got that forgiveness. Okay, so if Allah accepts, we don't know, but if we do, we're sorted. So he's saying, you're thinking he went up there. You think, well, why wouldn't he think, oh, thank you Allah for accepting my deed of being a martyr? But he's not. He's talking about forgiveness. So the fact that Allah just let all those things go. Okay, so that specific act that He forgave you for, or it could mean another meaning is, if only my people knew of my Lord's forgiveness for me. So this is what we call ma masdariya. The ma is replacing the verbal noun, which is ghufran. Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun bi ghufrani rabbi li, of my Lord's forgiveness for me. That's another possible meaning. And that the Arabic enables you to convey both. I.e., is it focusing on the forgiveness of an act or just forgiveness? Does that make sense? Okay. In English, you're going to have to choose one or the other, aren't you? In Arabic, you can convey both. And if we say it means alladhi, you'd assume that there should be a pronoun there. Bima ghafarahu li rabbi, of that thing that Allah forgave me for. But the thing's not mentioned. Do you remember that rule about descriptive pronouns? In Arabic, we say, this is the book which I read it. Do you remember you need the pronoun going back? There's no pronoun going back here. Should it be referring back to the thing that Allah's forgiven him for? That makes it general, okay? Or unimaginable, that thing that Allah's forgiven you for. So it's very rich, that part of the verse. And the extra question there is, why does it say my people know? It uses the present. You think it used the past? Because it's as if that happened. It's as if his people are still there right now when he's saying this, killing him. That's how quickly the act happened. And he's seeing them in that act, right in the midst of that crime, and he can still have compassion for them because he's transcended it. Once you're in paradise, you're not going to think, oh, I hope that guy's not going to get forgiven. You know, in paradise, because that's all dealt with at the mizan. You know, the measuring. Okay, everyone wants justice, but when the scales are put before them, you go, oh, okay, forgiveness now, because you're worried about your own deeds, aren't you? Because you don't want everyone to take your good deeds. You say, I forgive everyone, just so you get your own deeds. Okay. So and they say when you've gone past that on the Day of Judgment, there's a pool that you wash yourself from before you enter paradise, and it cleanses the heart from any sort of malice. Because afterwards, you're thinking, after the scales, you think that guy took all my good deeds. Oh, wait till he gets in paradise, I'll give him. But then you go into that pool and you're washed and you don't feel anything towards anybody. Because the people of paradise, they actually find worship in looking at one another's faces. There's no, you know, when we look at our faces today, after a while you look away, don't you? It's natural. Is that if you can't hold person's eye contact, you feel a bit insecure and stuff like that. You know, if you're looking at, so the eyes, in paradise we actually just want to permanently look at one another. One of the reasons is because our skin is so fair, we see our own reflection in their face. So you're going, oh, and he's looking at me, and the reality is, he's like,
Looking at yourself.
so Tasneem thinks Sonia's besotted with him in paradise, and she's actually besotted with her own image. Oh man.